personal story? And also, can you link that to how that motivated you to start Narc Free Living LLC?
Yes. So, yes, as I said before, when I was in the military, I was in the military for 23 years. And at the end, about at my 20th, 19th year, something like that, I dated and married a sociopath. Of course, I didn't know it at the time, but the signs were there that, the aggressiveness, what I thought was protection, you know what I mean? Because I wanted somebody to protect me. So that's what I'm saying. Like anything, your wounds, your trauma, I was like your sitting duck. So I was a sitting duck for this narcissist. So end up marrying him, and then a couple of weeks after, it was like, oh, I have you now. I have
weeks.
You locked in.
Not
Weeks.
even months, weeks.
Not even months, weeks. Yeah. Yes. Not even months, weeks. Then, one instance, and I tell this on my YouTube, we had went out somewhere and came home and just picked an argument. They love to argue. They love to have circular conversations about nothing that lead nowhere. And I'm like, we just got married. There's no need to be, so I walked away, walked into the ensuite to the bathroom, and I tried to close the door, and he pushed the door, and he came and he pushed my head. He said, like, don't you ever do that again. And I'm like, and then I tried to push him out. And yeah, so that was the first instance that somebody had laid their hands on me. And his eyes, you see the black eyes, you see the evilness in the way that they speak to you. So to go from Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde, it was like, who did I marry? And because I had been married for such a short time, it's like, well, I can't just give up on this like this, What is, you try to, well, maybe we go to, get counseling. They'll go to counseling. Narcissists will go to counseling. They don't like to, but they'll go and they'll just trick the counselor. They'll turn the counselor. So yeah, we went through all of that. And then the abuse it ramped up. It ramped up. He ended up almost, breaking my nose.
Oh my God.
And of course,
so
right. And I was thank you. And I was an officer in the military. So of course it's shameful. Like nobody knew that I was fighting with my husband, or my husband was fighting me really. And he was, way stronger than I was, you know what I mean? And he's, strangulating me. And that's another thing. If it's physically abusive, somebody strangulates you, you have the odds for that person killing you is high. The odds are high. So the police take strangulation usually very seriously. Yeah. So so the physical abuse, and I end up, I asked God to make a way of escape, and He made it, and I took it. And so fast forward, divorced him. I'm now remarried. And then about 5 years, yes. And I guess it's been about 5 years. So I went no contact with my family. So I had to ask God, like, how did I get here? Remember I said that in the beginning, like, how did I get here? And God had to show me, like, you've been around narcissists all your life. You just didn't know it. So, and then He began to show me signs in my family and signs with my mother. And I was writing her a letter, and I was like, well, God's telling me, pay attention to the signs. I'm looking, because I always look for patterns with people. Yes. And I was like, how didn't I see this? But then He said, covert narcissist. And I'm like, no, God, no, not my mother. But then when I examined it, I was like, oh my goodness, my mother's a covert narcissist. And that shook me. I think that shook me more than the ex.
Your ex, yes. Because
right, it's my mother. I didn't want to believe that, but I had to really, just come to terms with the truth, and the truth will set you free. And after that, I sent her the letter. I don't recommend that unless you're ready to go to World War III. So that's what happened in my family. They were able to turn my whole family against me. So my story is much like Joseph's, where the family turned against them. But out of that, I allowed myself to grieve for them, and I formed Narc Free Living like a month later. So, because I was like, this has to be talked about, because nobody in my community, nobody that looked like me in my community, I could go on YouTube and there were, right, and nobody was talking about it in my community from a spiritual and biblical perspective, and nobody was tying it all together. So that's what I do. I tie the biblical, the spiritual, the life coach, the practical side. I study psychology. I'm not a psychologist, but I study it so I can understand, you know, the mindset, and to help my clients and to help myself as well. So that's how Narc Free Living. I was like, I'm not going to be ashamed. I'm not going to be ashamed.
There's nothing to be ashamed of.
Right. Why am I ashamed? I didn't do that to me. So that's why I was like, well, if I was feeling like that, there has to be others. And the more I spoke out, more people began to come to me and ask me and say, well, what's this? And, you know, I think my father is this, or my husband, or my wife. A lot of men are going through this. So I just wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. So,
absolutely.
yes.
And honestly, I think that's exactly what you are. Just from the life that we're having now, people like, I've just seen Chloe has said, don't want to believe you about my mama either. Your story is encouraging me. That's exactly what you're doing.
Amen.
Yeah, Sabrina is saying it takes so much courage to break out of that kind of cycle and betrayal. So great. She's using that insight and knowledge to help others. Like, I just read the comments and I'm seeing like you're really, you're touching lives. What you're doing is honestly God's work.
Yeah, right.
You're doing God's work, and this is just amazing. I'm so sorry to hear about what you went through, but I'm just happy that, you know, from that place has come this huge blessing that you're using. Like, you're tapping into your experience and you're using it to like bless other people, and that's just amazing.
Thank you. And that means so much to me. That means more to me than anything, you know, being able to help someone. And that's what I'm here for. I know that's my purpose. And I don't want anybody, if you're going through this, your mother, your father, your wife, your husband, whatever it is, like, just don't feel ashamed, because, you know, they want to steal your voice. But the more you speak out, the more you will find out that you are not alone. And can I say something real quick?
Please do.
I have support groups. I have women's support groups. They're primarily for women, but I'm on Clubhouse. We have support groups on there. I just did a Rock Your Crown event that's for women to come together and they get to tell their stories in a safe environment. It is beautiful. And we come and look, I wear my crown. I put my crown on my head. And they wear their crowns. So because abuse makes you feel like a shell of yourself. Small. So when we come in, so when we come in there, they wear their crowns and it's like, I'm getting back to me. I'm getting back to me. I'm not alone. So it's beautiful. So I have that, and then my YouTube channel. So I have all kind of things just to help people know. And the Clubhouse is for men and women, but the Rock Your Crown is for women. I just had that, and I'll be having that again next month. And then for people who are in it, I'm going to have something to give them resources to get out, you know, because a lot of them are stay-at-home moms, don't have the resources to leave. So we're coming together to help them start businesses and things like that. So God's doing amazing work.
I can see that. And I'm assuming that on Clubhouse, your handle is Narc Free Living LLC as well.
It is.
So please follow Shannon on Instagram at Narc Free Living LLC. Clubhouse. I'm actually going to speak to Shannon about taking this to Clubhouse, because I have a room in Clubhouse as well. I want to take this conversation there. And I want to bring more people on stage, and I want to really like go deep into this. I have a friend who is willing to come on board and speak about her first-hand experience with a narcissist, and then I'm going to look for some other person, and I want to, like, you know, kind of like opening up even more. Let's make this conversation even larger. So I'll talk about